What is going on, guys? It is Fluxified here and welcome back to another video. Today we are covering all of the latest Rust console news of the week, and honestly it has been a pretty crazy week so far. We now have the new RECOIL update live on the PTB or public test branch, alongside 2 new monuments and much more. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get straight into it. So starting off, let's go ahead and talk about the biggest change in this update, the new RECOIL system. Every weapon in the game now has a completely different feel than before. If you take the AK for instance, the new recoil on that gun is so much easier to control than before, and you can notice this as soon as you get your hands on the weapon. Instead of going to the left and right as of before, the recoil now just goes in one direction, which should in theory make it a lot easier to use. I will say there is definitely a noticeable amount of kick on each weapon, meaning that you have to pull down the stick a lot more than before to actually control the recoil. But overall, in my opinion, this is quite a good change. I also noticed that you can now stand and spray with the semi-rifle, which you couldn't really do before, so definitely another good change there. Now for my personal take on this new recoil, as someone that's played the game since the early beta, it is nice to have that refresh in each weapon, and at the end of the day we are just playing catch up to the PC version, which of course did have its own recoil update previously. Now we did also get new weapons along with the recoil update as well: the SKS, high caliber revolver, minigun, handmade SMG, and the military flamethrower. These weapons of course were moved over from the PC version, and I can see some early favourites coming out here. The SKS of course is a really nice gun to use, and I've seen a lot of people also running round on the public test branch with the handmade SMG as well, so it does seem like people are really liking these weapons. Of course, any kind of new addition to the game is a good one, and it has been over a year since we last had weapons added to the game, so it is nice again just to have that little refresh on the meta. Moving on, 2 new monuments came with this update: the desert military base and the return of the military tunnels. Now of course, military tunnels is my favourite monument in the game, so I am a bit biased towards that, but the new desert base is actually a really good monument as well. There are bots around that you have to take out, but there is a good amount of crates in the monument, and also of course you have the MLRS, which when loaded with missiles can launch a targeted missile attack at a base of your choosing across the map. The desert military base is a procedural monument, which means that on every map it is going to have a slightly different layout, but even with the procedural nature, as I was saying, there are quite a few crates, and I do think this will probably take its place somewhere near the top of the best monuments in this game currently, at least until we get other new monuments further down the line. Now there were some slightly smaller changes, but still important ones here as well. Notably, when you try and take out the Bradley now with rockets, it will spawn different amounts of scientists depending on the health of the tank. I think this is a good change because it will slow down how long it takes large groups to actually take Bradley, and it will allow other teams a longer amount of time to actually counter. But again, if you are a competent team, you're going to be taking out these scientists and you'll have a good chance to get some good loot as well. And aside from the changes to Bradley, we also got a new item, the RC drone. This is a player controlled drone operated from the computer station and can be unlocked at a tier 2 workbench or looted from a crate. Currently there is a few issues with this on the PlayStation 5 due to the restrictions of the on-screen keyboard, but according to the developers this will be fixed quite soon. Now aside from this, there was a couple of other changes, but they really were just kind of minor ones and bug fixes. I do of course want to talk about some things that weren't so good with this update though, and that's just me being honest. For one, the new camera shake on walking. This was on as default and it made me feel slightly motion sick, I want to say, while actually playing the game. There is an option to turn this off in the HUD settings if you turn off head bob, but it is a thing I just wanted to mention. I wasn't the biggest fan of, and I've heard other people mention it too, but of course I have to give credit to the developers here for giving us the toggle to turn it off. Aside from that, I do believe that covers all of the main changes. There were a couple of bugs introduced in this update as well, just to get that out there and hopefully spread awareness for that. Notably, the first time I loaded onto the public test branch, I loaded in at quality mode, which in theory is the best the game can possibly look, but my game ended up being super blurry and just not clear at all. And bear in mind, on the main branch everything is completely fine. I will show a comparison here just so you guys can see the difference, and of course if you guys have been having similar issues, definitely let me know in the comments. After a restart though, this did actually fix this issue, so if you guys are experiencing this, try restarting your console and maybe it will fix it. Hopefully though, this issue will get fixed before this update hits the main branch. Another issue I was having was still with the hot air balloons. There has been a couple of fixes around this lately, but I'm still having issues where the button on the hot air balloon to actually choose the direction you want to go just doesn't seem to respond, and a couple of times already now it's already got me taken out because I've landed somewhere unintentionally because the button to actually get up in the air and control it just doesn't seem to work. Now of course, a disclaimer here, this is the public test branch, so obviously there is going to be issues. These are the only two I've noticed so far, but of course let me know your thoughts and if you have found any issues in the comments down below, and I will try if I can to pass them on to the developers. Now I do believe that just about wraps up this video covering the update. If you did enjoy, then definitely drop a like and also consider subscribing because I do post a video just like this every single week. Until then though, I have been Fluxified, thank you for watching and I'll see you on the beach.